Hello guys, that's me, Alexandra. I'm from the Netherlands, from a city called Tilburg, and this is the first video I'm making after a short break. Like I have taken, I was quite busy to be honest, and I have been very busy because I'm moving. My family, me, my husband, my son, our two animals, we bought a house and we're slowly moving from the apartment where I used to live to the house, of course, because it's a newly built house, so it's quite a lot of work to prepare it, to make it completely like livable and cozy and everything. And having like 1 year and 4 months old toddler and making your hands completely full, so I didn't really have any time to talk about something. And I apologize because I started this channel. I know there's just a few people who have subscribed, but if they did, it means like, you know, that something was, you know, attracting the attention, let's say. And I would like to make another video today, and what today I'm going to talk about is the difficulties of international marriage or of international relationship, because, you know, not everybody who's in a relationship is married, you know. Apparently it's apparent, you know, this is logical. Before I start my story, before I start telling you what I actually think about all those things, I would like to ask you gently to subscribe to my channel. Click this subscribe button and just to stay with me, stay tuned, leave your comments, and I will see that you are actually very much appreciating the work that I'm doing and the time I'm taking for you. I promise I will, you know, develop the quality of my videos, and like we'll probably do a bit more editing, but it's really difficult having 1 year old in your hands. But I really want to share my views on so many Dutch things and so many other American things, because as you probably know from my previous videos, I used to live in the States, in New York for a while. I'm pretty much an internationally minded person. Of course, I'm not really taking this Russian part of me as who I am, because I was born, bred, and, you know, in Russia, so it's apparent. But at the same time, I think me and my husband and us and our family as a whole is pretty much open-minded, you know, open-minded, if you can, you know, see those things as a part of the whole thing called our family. Okay, the difficulties of international marriage. What are the difficulties? I took my time recently and I was thinking about, like, what are the obstacles, you know, what can be so difficult for foreign people and Dutch people, you know, what Dutch people do, what not really easily acceptable by other cultures. Now, first of all, Dutch partners expect equality. Okay, everything I'm going to say is going to be a big, huge generalization. So don't really, how should I say that, don't really expect that, you know, every Dutch person is like that, or it's everyone does like that. Absolutely not. Everybody's different. But I'm just talking to you, you know, trying to make a general picture, let's say. Dutch partners expect equality. What do I mean by equality? Well, for instance, like my culture, and I know many other cultures, women expect the men take like the responsibility for them, you know, be protectors, providers. You know, it's a pretty traditional position. There is nothing wrong, absolutely nothing wrong with that, seriously. You shouldn't be ashamed of leading the life like that. I mean, I'm up to it. I'm a person who learned English like the short amount of time from the age of 21, and I reached my master degree in international law and human rights, and I believe in that with all my heart. I enjoy the fact that my husband is very much a traditionally minded person, that this is the thought, you know, this is his mindset that he has come to by himself. It's not something what he has been raised with, not something what his parents believed or anything like that. That's his personal choice that he's most comfortable with, as well as me, and we're both happy, so there's nothing wrong with that. But most of the Dutch people see things differently. They accept a woman to, I don't know, to pay some parts of the bills, and they think it's equal and fair, because, you know, if you want to be equal to me, why won't you pay? In Netherlands, for instance, they have like a very short maternity leave, like it's 3 months. I know in the States there's like almost no maternity leave. It depends on your company. It's not really governmentally restricted, but at the same time, we all have to understand that, you know, we come from our cultural background, and like for instance in my country, in Russia, women prefer to stay with their children, you know, till they like 2.5 or 3. Yeah, they used to have short maternity leave as well in USSR like 50 years ago. It was also like a couple of months and women had to go back to work, but now it's not really the case. There can be many explanations why that is, and so many women just believe that this time is really priceless and they have to be with their children. In the Netherlands, it's not really the case. Women mostly work part-time, but they bring their child to daycare 3 months old. They think it's absolutely normal, you know, because they have to be equal partners to their husbands or to their partners. You know, they have to pay for stuff, it's their job, it's important. You know, the child has to learn to fall asleep by himself, has to learn to drink from the bottle, not only from the breast, you know, of the mother, and just soothe himself, and just like, yeah, I mean, I have really doubts that, you know, maybe some children born with like mild temperament and it's easy for them, but I refuse to believe that most of the children are very comfortable with that, because all babies want to be with their moms. Believe it or not, it's true. But Dutch people, you know, they run to work, they think work is more preferable and it's super much needed. Not because they're like super like really want it, because their favorite job or just it's a career. No, it can be a person who works in the grocery store and they would happily see wife with just one provider, with one income. They wouldn't die. Trust me, that's just the way of thinking. And a lot of women, you know, when they come here, they expect, you know, more traditional approach to life. You know, they expect that their husband will take this full responsibility for them. They're gonna get married, and of course they're very shy to ask, you know, about this in the first place, or even discuss that topic to make sure they're gonna scare the guy away. They expect, you know, they're gonna stay with the child as long as they feel comfortable, and they're very much surprised when their husband says like, you know what, I mean, you have to pay those bills, or you have to sign a contract that, you know, like, if you want to get married, that this house is not yours because I bought it before we met, you know, and these kind of things. For me, that's like I don't know, like in Russia we say like small soul, like you are as a guy, you know, so much afraid to take responsibility for the woman who is getting pregnant, who is going through painful process of labor, breastfeeding, you know, and give you a child, and just, you know, there's so many things that just particularly for women, you know, you don't even have Women's Day, come on, and you are just so little that you're so afraid. Sign this contract with me, please. I'm raising a boy, you know, and I cannot imagine that one day he's gonna come to me and say, oh, this is my, you know, girlfriend, and she's gonna sign the contract that she's not gonna take my house away. I think I'll just freaking kick him out of the house. It's the worst thing I can imagine. The guy who's being so small and so afraid and so sitting on its money and protecting himself, that's not a family. That's not what family is about. But that's my personal perspective. They see it's like you should be equal, but well, you know, go get Women's Day, go get pregnant, go through labor, you know, have all those health complications, endanger yourself, breastfeed, so you can do those things. That's why you're talking about equality. You know, it's like, I mean, we're all equal, but we're not the same, and we have to be treated accordingly. That's my opinion, but it's not what Dutch people think. They think if you mean equal, so you should also go to work, you have to provide and pay. So, another very, very important thing. A lot of Dutch people do not believe in marriage. I'm talking particularly to girls, you know, coming from different countries to be with their Dutch partners. You can be very much surprised. So my personal advice to you, if you just met a Dutch guy online, if you're talking to him or you met maybe a few times and you some sort of romantic relationship, initiate that conversation. It doesn't mean you have to ask, you're gonna marry me or not, you know, that's not what I mean at all. I mean, ask him in a very polite way if he believes in marriage, because quite a lot of Dutch people do not believe in marriage. I'm not joking, they don't at all. They think why it's needed. Why is it needed? You know, who needs that? Before it was a church, especially people in the south, like in North Brabant, where I'm living, actually will tell you like, but now, who needs that stuff? You know, you can have a summer living contract, or you have partnership, you know, that's a modern way. And not everyone, I know some young people who married in church, you know, they were our neighbors in this apartment complex, so this thing happened. Some people are extremely religious, you know, or till the point that we can call it like a cult or something. So make sure that you talk those things through, that you ask those questions, because they can be very unfortunate if you fell in love with a guy in the first place, and after some time being completely into it, you know, and just spending your time in this romantic relationship, one day you just realize that, you know, he's not sharing the same values as you do. You know, he may be like smart, handsome, you know, witty, and like I know, attractive, fun, enjoyable, loving, caring, whatever, but he doesn't see his life the same you see your life, and those things are crucial. So start this conversation. You know, you might be very much surprised what you hear, but maybe you will be pleasantly surprised. Perhaps you're one of the person that you are just, I don't know, coming from the country when marriage is also like quite forced on people and just socially kind of like expected too much, and you're very happy that you don't have to marry here, you know, it just can be partners, and it's comfortable for you, it's actually what you desire. That's perfect, then you're in the right place, you know, and most probably you will be happy here. But make sure you figure out those things. And the last point, Dutch people can be quite suspicious of foreign partners. As I said in my previous videos, I don't remember if I said it, or maybe it was on my Russian channel, because I'm just saying so much these days. Dutch people are not the most sensitive and the most delicate when it comes to jokes and emotions of others. They're quite rude. They call it like, oh, we're just honest. Americans will say brutally honest, but it has to be honest, most of the time it has nothing to do with honesty. It's rather the lack of delicacy, you know, the lack of empathy, and if you're like a foreign partner, you can have a hard time, like, you know, being accepted by the parents and friends of your Dutch partner. Not always, but at first you can be confronted with all kinds of stupid jokes that they think your culture does or prefers or has or something like that, and that can be not fun, you know, it can be quite hurting. I apologize, my neighbors have chickens, so they kind of make this sound, but for me it's just funny. I hope it doesn't really disturb you that much. What I was saying is, yeah, you can be suspiciously looked at first. Of course, like after some time, when you get to know them, they get to know you, you can become friends, and like all those things will not matter. But if you're quite sensitive, you know, to all this national, you know, things, like, just be prepared, or maybe stay away from a, I don't know, Dutch person. Just pick someone more international, like an American from a big city like New York, for instance, or Canadian, or someone else, because these things can occur. I'm not really saying that people will heavily like judge you and discriminate against you, hate you. I'm not preparing you for any of those things, but Dutch people can make all kinds of stupid jokes. For instance, I come from Russia, from Moscow, and I've heard tons of times people making stupid jokes about vodka and Putin, and some of my friends were confronted with very nationalistic questions, like, why did you shut down the plane? I mean, this MH17 that was shut down, you know, by people. I don't really know. I mean, most of the people say that Russians were involved somehow with people or with military. I'm not discussing any of this on my channel, please don't start it. But, you know, I'm a Western person, you know, and I'm a Dutch person. I'm legally a Dutch person, but I'm of course I'm sharing all the Western views, okay, just for you to know. You know, I'm not really here as, you know, advocating for Russian current president and forever president, I guess, not at all. But at the same time, you know, I'm not responsible for any of those things. I know so many friends of mine who actually immigrated from Russia. They were actively protesting, but you know, as soon as they realized that they're endangering themselves more than actually influencing anything, they made up their minds, and they, you know, moved to other countries. And you can't really blame them for just coming from the country, make them responsible for the choices they had nothing to do with. And yeah, that's a story. And yeah, I think I've told you all the points, and I discussed all the details of difficulties that you can have in the relationship with a Dutch person. So I hope that warned some people. I hope that I just talk something interesting to people who don't really know me. And yeah, I just hope you'll stay with my channel. I'm not sure how regularly I'm gonna come up with new videos, but the more subscribers I see, when I see if it's slowly but growing, the more I have a desire to make more videos and to be surrounded by people who sympathize my values, who share something in common with me. Because if you're really not, and you disagree with everything I say, and I'm not more than an annoyance for you, just go find another blogger. Don't spend your time on something you don't have anything in common. And as always, it's been a pleasure for me to record this video for you, and it's been a pleasure to share my experiences. They are all personal and subjective, and I hope you spend a great 15 minutes and a bit more listening to me, and I hope to see you in my next videos, and bye.